What's going on? Just heading out to Shoppers right now. Going to get some stuff for the house. Wife wants Oreos, and we ran out of drinks, and want to get some ice cream as well and whatnot. Pulling out of my driveway right now, or my garage right now, but wanted to actually talk about my phase of turning 33. I turned 33 on August 13th, so not too long ago. Wanted to share some insight on my experience growing up, especially my 20s as well, and wanted to share my experience with you and give you some piece of advice on what to do in your 20s. And you being in your 20s, this is definitely some things that I've learned the hard way. Sometimes I've learned things, easily through other people, or other people that are mentioning to me like what to do. So this is it's not going to be obviously structured, this video obviously, but I want to obviously give some some points that you should definitely carry with you in your 20s, even if you're in your early 20s or late 20s. I mean, some are going to be very specific on which age group you're in. But yeah, well, let's get to it. So first thing I want to say is that if I was to go back in my 20s and do it again, I think the first thing I would prioritize is your health. Now I don't mean in a way of going to the gym is great, being active is great, walking, lifting weights, running, whatever you can do, all that stuff. But this is a time right now in your life where this is gonna create a base for your life. If you're overweight, or if you're at that point of being super overweight, and you're in your 20s, especially in your early 20s, prioritize your health right now, because as you get older, your metabolism, as everybody knows this, slows down, right? I mean, there's different things that you can do to boost your metabolism, and obviously that's throughout your life, but your body naturally goes against it. So I would say prioritize that, and also prioritize eating healthy, right? Not eating out as much. I mean, once in a blue moon, every 2 weeks or so, grab yourself burger, pizza, wings. Junk food type of thing. I mean, wings are debatable, but junk food, whatever. But you should at least have a structured diet to yourself, or for yourself. And who's gonna prioritize that? Who's gonna give that? Is your doctor, right? Your doctor is going to be able to provide you that. Your dietitian is going to be able to provide you that. And you obviously have, resources out there like ChatGPT and, Google, YouTube and whatnot. So you're able to obviously self-service yourself through that, right? So yeah, that's what I would say. First point is obviously prioritizing your health and prioritizing what you eat, and being, active, walking, things like that. Something to get your blood pumping in your body, and have that as a routine. So yeah, point number 2, I would say, is especially in your early 20s, do not get into relationships. I personally think that you should be focusing on money. You should be focusing on developing a skill set, focusing on developing yourself, being the best version of yourself as well. And now for women, I mean, it obviously, this is a hit or miss for everybody. Some people, they have high school sweethearts or high school people that they've engaged with, and that they want to obviously get married to, and obviously develop that relationship. If you still have or are in that situation, still try to prioritize yourself in a sense of building yourself, your person. So your career, your finances, your health, as I mentioned earlier, and and basically not prioritizing relationships, as in hunting, as in dating and stuff like that. I don't know, I'm not a big believer in dates. I feel like dating is a waste of time. A lot of people spend a lot of money, a lot of time dating, and it gets nowhere, right? A lot of people nowadays, they're playing games, they're just trying to wine and dine their dates, or women or men are trying to wine and dine. So it's kind of you're wasting your time, you're wasting your resources, right? And I think the only person that you should wine and dine is your fiance or your wife, right? Now I know a lot of people are going to be like, wait, well, you're dating to see who you're going to get married to. Well, I don't believe in that, because the thing is, I know people that have been in a relationship for 10 years or so, and they've not gotten married. They actually broke up, in fact, and it's been a really messy breakup. So it's kind of what do you do? What's the objective? You know what I mean? What you're trying to achieve, right? Now, if you're trying to mess around or whatever, that's your choice, but you're going to be wasting a lot of your resources that you could have been spending on yourself and making a better version or better person for yourself. Let me just actually grab something and I'm going to be right back. And I'm back. It is very, very sunny right now. And just trying to beat the heat. So take this over winter anytime. Anyways, getting back to what I was mentioning earlier about, you know, relationships and whatnot, I think that takes a lot of time and resources. So I say that, you know, in your early 20s especially, enjoy your life. You know what I mean? Like, go on vacation, save up your money, save up your resources that you can. You know, don't spend it on, you know, people that are not going to be, you know, nowadays a lot of people, they're not really dating for, you know, building a relationship. They're just dating just to mess around or whatever. So don't waste your time. Spend it on yourself. Spend it on, you know, saving those resources for yourself and securing yourself for the future. Because right now, even the economy is so bad. So you don't even want to do that, right? I mean, we're not living in the 1960s or 70s where we're able to buy a house like 20, 30K or something. Next point I want to talk about is learning to live with yourself. I think that, you know, in time, depending on obviously situations and stuff like that, your friends and your family especially will start to, you know, back up from your life rather, and they won't be as involved much as you were as a kid. So, you know, like obviously as a kid, making friends was relatively easy, you know, like whoever was in your school, whatever the case is, you know, you have that interest, that common ground that you guys can become friends with, right? Now you're older, you have time for just work, you have time for, like, you know, taking care of yourself and all that stuff. Yeah, you would have probably make a little bit of time here and there for your friends, but your friends themselves will be busy, right? And they probably might have even other goals as well. They might have another job in another country, city, might even get married, might even have kids, might even move all together somewhere else, right? So it's you gotta like really, you know, change your you know, your mindset about like, you know, I need to have many people in my life. No, you don't. You should learn how to live with yourself. Learn how to live with yourself. Like, as in, if everybody was to abandon you, if your mom, your dad, your siblings, your friends, everybody was to cut you off, imagine one day, would you be able to say, hey, I'm good by myself? You know what I'm saying? I'm able to hold myself together, right? And that's one of the true tests of life. You know, I tell this to a lot of my family members as well, like even, you know, some people that I know personally, very close to me, and they look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, you know what? You're not ready. You're not ready for when, you know, shit hits the fan, right? People can literally get up and bail, right? Like, I've had it happen to me too, where, you know, friends, family, like they literally betrayed me or they literally hurt me, right? So now that they're not in my life, it's like, okay, I spent that time, those resources, those memories with you, and now you're not there with me anymore, right? So luckily I was able to grasp this very quickly in my late 20s. But if you can start this earlier, you know, in your 20s, especially right after college, university, whatever the case is, do it. All right. Next point is, don't need to rush yourself on what you want to do in your life, right? And I think that's the number one question that a lot of people get confusion on, is when they're growing up, especially with me, you know, you say to yourself, what do I want to do in my life? What career do I want to do? Do I want to be an entrepreneur? Do I want to have a career in finance, have a career in engineering, have a career whatever, right? And sometimes, you know, even though you're in your relative studies, for example, you're in school, college, whatever, or even if you didn't go to school, you're still lost on that idea of like, hey, should I go back to school or not? That's when you need to start doing a deep dive into yourself, right? And actually become more exploring and more open to the world, and be like, what's the world turning into, right? And as you know, the thing is not about a degree. I don't believe in the education system that we have now. I feel like it's just you're paying for a piece of paper. And I think that the only time it makes sense for you to go to school is like if you're learning something like engineering, for example, being a doctor, being a lawyer, being whatever, right? Like something that has a technical skill. But if you're learning business, if you're learning marketing, if you're learning things like, English or some degree where like you can literally learn, you know, at the library or something like that, like, you know, that's something that you got to think about, right? I myself have a bachelor in communication. I do regret my degree to a certain point. If I was to go back in time, I obviously would be like, yo, let me try something different, right? But right now that's not what it is. And I got lucky, actually. I got into sales, so I was able to obviously grasp a career where I was able to obviously make some money relatively quickly in a short period of time. So that's what I got into, and now where I am in my life, in my position, that's what it is. Now, getting to the next point is when in regards to what I'm saying right now. I firmly believe this, and I'm gonna say this with full confidence. In your early 20s, get into sales in your career. I don't care what you are. I don't care if you're an engineer. I don't care whatever. Unless you're becoming a doctor, you have to go to med school. That makes sense, whatever, right? But I feel like if you get into sales, you know how to actually sell not only products, but to sell yourself. Like as in like who you are, what you're capable of, your skill set, your background. When you're talking with employers, when you're an entrepreneur, you know how to like actually like gauge with your product or your services you're providing, right? You know the game. You know how to actually carry yourself. And professional companies will be able to teach you that, right? And they train salespeople. And in my personal opinion, I think you should get into a product that's either very expensive, like as in like something that you can make a lot of commission off, or something like tech sales, like a software-based company where you're selling software for a living. Now, I am against the idea of pure commission only, unless you're like a real estate agent. Even if you're like a car salesman, I get it. Like you get a certain percentage of all the cars that you make, or like per car you make a certain amount. But I think that right now in your early 20s, you need to definitely have some income coming. And I believe that your time should be paid for in sales or in any career. But I think that in sales, not a lot of people want to do it, because the thing is, it's scary. You're literally going out to clients, you're literally talking to people, and you're saying, hey, here's a product that we have. I think this would be a good fit for you, whatever the case is. And that's the conversation that you're having, right? And a lot of people are scared of rejection. A lot of people, and you know, of course, in this generation, a lot of people are scared of rejection. A lot of people are scared of like people saying no. This is a character building career, right? You can leave sales. Like I left sales already, right? Like years ago. But I mean, like if you start off in sales, you develop that confidence, you develop that skill set that you can carry with you in your life. So whenever you're building your own business, if you're doing another career, whatever the case is, you have that energy, that confidence to actually talk to people, engage with them, and develop like a good relationship with them, right? And that's very important for all types of jobs that you work at. Another piece of advice I would give you as well, a lot of people don't do this for some reason, and I understand why, because it happened to me too. Please learn how to drive. I think that in high school, you should learn and beg your parents, like literally beg them. Forget about everything. Beg your parents to know how to drive. I'll tell you why. I started driving officially when I was 25, 26, as in having my own car. I had my license, but I didn't have my own car. And I started driving, and I literally, before that, I remember taking the bus to work. I remember taking the bus to do my groceries. I remember doing the bus for everywhere, and it was hell. I understand some people, they live in the city like New York City or any other big cities where like Metro and all that works. But if you're living in the suburbs, if you're living in an area where like you need to get around using a car, please learn how to drive. Literally, it's going to save your life. And literally, in a sense, it's going to actually open more opportunities for you to, get jobs, meet people, develop your network as well. And even in the middle of the night, sometimes what happens is that if I have the time, I would go out. I mean, I can't now, obviously I have a baby, but like if at nighttime especially, it's so calming to even drive, even if you're like feeling like the world's crashing on you, the world's against you, whatever the case is. Just take a 5-10 minute drive. Honestly, it clears your mind, it clears your headspace, and there's so many things that you can do, that you can think about while you're driving, and you can have like this kind of like me time kind of thing. And that's what I would recommend for that. Next thing also is If I were you and you were in a position where you're able to move out, do not move out. I'll tell you why. If you are in a condition where your parents are okay and they're happy with you staying home, as long as you contribute to something, whether you mow the lawn or you take out the garbage or you pay some bills or you drive them or do errands or whatever, you need to use that as your base to stay at a place and literally use that base to save up your finances, save up yourself, and also be in a place where, you know, you can call yourself home. You know, especially if you're living by yourself, if you move out early, you live by yourself and you're literally on your own, it can get depressing. I'll be honest with you, it can get depressing. But if you're around family members that are supportive, they're not making a toxic environment, you're getting, you know, free food cooked from your mom, or whatever the case is, or, you know, the environment around you is set in stone, like as in you're comfortable, then don't need to move out. But if you're in a situation where you're in a toxic situation, you're constantly fighting, there's a lot of arguments happening, whatever the case is, then that's the time for you to make that move. And if you decide to make that move, don't go for an apartment. Go for a room rental. Go for, you know, subletting an apartment with someone, right? Most of the time, those people that are actually subletting, they're not staying at home. In my personal experience, I've rented so many rooms and I never see my roommate. I only see them like at nighttime, and I just know that they come at night because they're coming to crash. Most of the time, they're out, they're working, they're doing whatever they can, grinding, making that money, as I mentioned earlier. So that's what he would do to that. And last thing, I know I want to make this video a long thing, but I'm just saying things that off the top of my head. I gotta go, obviously, but last thing I want to say is your hobbies, make sure you keep your hobbies. Don't let go of your hobbies. If you're into gaming, game, you know, keep that. If that helps you ground yourself at the end of the day, if that gives you peace and enjoyment, whatever the case is, keep it. If you like reading, if you like, you know, going for walks, working out, driving, watching movies, TV shows, whatever you like, if you actually enjoy it and that's something that you need to do like every day to function, do it. That's one thing for sure. Like, it's gonna obviously set your mind together, it's gonna relax you, you're enjoying something that you like, and whatever the case is. And yeah, that's what I would say to that. Anyways, this is a video I wanted to make so you can actually learn on, you know, what to expect or what to do in your 20s from someone that is 33 years of age. And yeah, if I was to go back, you know, definitely a lot of the things I would have done this with the knowledge that I had, I would have been someplace else. Of course, we all learn in life, and life is the biggest teacher. So yeah, anyways, thank you so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you really soon. Take care. I gotta get this stuff upstairs, and I'll talk to you real soon. Take care, and bye-bye.